Hey everybody, Walking Man Walks back. I'm still in Malaysia on vacation, and I've just been going over the morning news, and I thought I would touch base with my MAGA followers. As you know, Trump did an interview this week with Kristen Welker, I think her name is, and he admitted that it's going to be very hard to bring down grocery prices. So, in other words, when he said during the election he was going to bring down grocery prices on day one, he lied. And that's what most of my friends on Facebook from high school and stuff were saying, that on day one, they can't wait for gas to be $1.80 again. I'm including that in with grocery prices. And for grocery prices to go down, now he's walking that back. So if you voted for him for the economy, then, well, he lied about bringing down grocery prices. Also, the MAGA Republicans are about to shut down the government. I know most people usually don't care when the government gets shut down because it doesn't affect them. But if the government shuts down now, it will affect Social Security checks, it'll affect paychecks for federal workers, military, all that won't get paid until the government opens back up again. Now they passed they passed a law back in 2019 that says that anytime there's a government shutdown, all federal workers will be paid retroactively when the government opens back up again. So shutting down the government doesn't save any money, but they just want to shut the government down now because they don't want anything to happen until January 20th when Trump takes office. They don't want any bills passed or any spending because the Democrats still control the government. So a couple of days ago, the Republicans put out a bill, an extending resolution, I think they call it, to keep the government open. And it was a bipartisan bill, Democrats and Republicans, and I think 35 or 38 of the extreme right voted against it, so it didn't pass. And that was the bill approved by Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the shadow president. By the way, how do you guys in MAGA feel about Trump being cucked by Elon Musk? I mean, I thought he was this powerful big man, but now he does everything Elon Musk wants. So anyway, that bill got tanked. They put in another bill for a continuing resolution last night, I think, Friday night, and that also didn't pass. So it looks like the government's going to shut down. So in the interview, what Trump said about groceries exactly, very simple word, groceries, like almost, who uses the word? Like Trump's never shopped in his life for groceries. He doesn't even know how to go about going grocery shopping. This is what you voted for. Who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries, he said. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down. And this is what he said back during the election. But now he's saying it's going to be very, very hard to bring grocery prices down. Very, very hard. So he's admitting that he's not going to bring grocery prices down. And the same thing with gas. So here's the deal, how economics work. Once inflation brings groceries and gas up to a certain level, it never goes back down again. In the history of economics, it's never gone back down again. There's a bunch of reasons for that. One of them is the giant corporations that control our food and gas, who Trump's just going to empower and give tax breaks to. They don't want to bring it down. Once they're making those profits, they don't want to bring it back down and make less profits. So also Trump's tariffs, which he says he's going to initiate on day one, will bring prices even further up. I know there's been a lot of controversy online about tariffs. Tariffs are inflationary. So I've explained this before. If you buy, if you're a company, which most companies in the U.S. don't make things in the U.S. anymore, like 98%. they make them in China or Vietnam or, wherever, Mexico. So if they bring the product in, then the US government charges the tariff when it gets to our port, and it can't leave the port until somebody pays the tariff. So the business that is importing the goods has to pay the tariff. So if the tariff's 20%, 10%, 30%, whatever it is, the business has to pay that. And a business in the US, an importer, probably works on small margins, or even if it's big margins, they don't want to lose their profit to a tax, which a tariff is. So they pass that tariff on to the consumer. So 90% of our avocados that come from Mexico, when they come into the country, if they get a 20% tariff, you're going to pay 20% more at the grocery store for avocados. Say you don't like avocados, most of our fruit comes from Mexico, and a lot of our vegetables come from Mexico. So lettuce, all that stuff. So all that stuff's going to be 20% higher. So groceries aren't actually going to go down, they're going to go up. And then on the other end, so tariffs are inflationary. When they come into the country, they're a tax. The tax is passed on to the consumer, you, the Trump voter, passed on to you, and you're going to pay the tariff. The company might eat some of the tariff, 5% or something like that, but the majority of the cost of the tariff is going to be put on the backs of the American consumers. Also, tariffs aren't only inflationary, but Donald Trump talks a lot about the dollar being too strong. So right now, around the world, like in the Philippines, the dollar is 57 pesos to the dollar, which is good. A couple of years ago when I was in the Philippines, it was 52 or 54, depending on the day, pesos to the dollar. So now it's strong. So when I change dollars from my bank, I get 57 pesos for every dollar, which gives me more buying power in the Philippines. So it's like a good time maybe to buy land in the Philippines or buy expensive items because the dollar is strong. But the dollar being strong is not great for the American economy because it's harder to export things out of the country if the dollar is strong because they cost more. So if an American company, say US Steel wants to export steel, countries are less likely to buy it because it's cheaper to buy Chinese steel because the Chinese currency is much weaker. So now that we have that ironed out, tariffs, if you charge tariffs to stuff, say, coming in from China, less stuff is going to be purchased from China, right? Because people can't afford it. They might move it to Vietnam or somewhere else. So if less stuff is purchased from China, or there's just not as much money to buy the stuff from China because it costs more, the money that you pay for those Chinese goods, the Chinese convert into Chinese dollars, Chinese money. It escapes me what it's called right now, their money. But anyway, it turns into Chinese money. Or let's say the Philippines. The Philippines exports a lot of wood, right? So if the dollar's strong, yes, you could, if you buy Filipino wood, the Philippines are going to convert those dollars into pesos. And because the dollar is strong, you get less pesos for the dollar, which makes it harder to export goods from the US because of how expensive it is. So let's say let's go back to the China example. So you're exporting goods from the US to China. The dollar is really strong. You export those goods. China can't buy as many of those goods because of the strong dollar. And with tariffs, the dollar just gets stronger.
Grocery prices have skyrocketed. How can a family afford that? So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down.
Yesterday, the Labor Department announced that year-over-year inflation reached its lowest level in more than 3 years last month.
He had his supporters all in, posting videos on TikTok bragging about how many groceries they'd be able to afford under his plan. Except now, Trump, who isn't even in office yet, has already failed to deliver on his core campaign promise of lowering the price of
groceries.
He literally told his supporters a day before the election that a vote for Trump would mean cheaper groceries. He loudly declared it like he was promising a Black Friday sale every day at the supermarket.
A vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper. So many people mention, I go in, so many people mention groceries, that beautiful but simple word, groceries.
And now, he's admitted that he can't do anything about lowering prices, which means what we always knew to be true about Trump. He's a pathological liar who will say whatever he can to get what he wants. He dangled lower prices in front of the American people and then snatched it away, all while saying, "Psych!" Trump supporters got rug pulled faster than you can say hawk to a coin.
Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can
it.
you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow.
The president-elect is moving the goalposts on some of his pledges, like lowering the price of groceries. It's hard to bring things down once they're up, Trump says. You know, it's very hard.
I'd like to bring them down, he says. It's hard to bring things down once they're up.
Speaking on lowering the price of groceries, Trump told the magazine, it's hard to bring things down once they're up. You know, it's very hard.
He's already hedging his bets, telling Time, I'd like to bring them down. It's hard to bring things down once they're up. You know, it's very hard. Sorry, MAGA. But hey, Trump made the list as Time's Person of the Year again, so at least Trump's happy, right?
My question from MAGA voters is, what are you going to do in 2 years in the next election, the midterm election, when Trump has not lowered prices on groceries, not lowered prices on gasoline, in fact, made Americans' lives harder because everything's going to cost even more with his tariffs if he goes through with his tariffs? Are you going to vote for Republicans, Democrats, progressives, or right-wing lunatics like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who do nothing but make a lot of noise on social media, pass no bills, and own the libs? So me personally, I lean toward the progressive side because the progressives are the ones who put bills out there that help the middle class and the poor the most. Now, what the Republicans' main goal this cycle is to pass more tax cuts for the rich and corporations. So my MAGA followers, comment below, let me know what you think. If groceries don't go down and gas doesn't go down and everything goes up, are you still going to vote across the board for Republicans so you can own the libs and, you know, keep trans people out of schools, which never really happened, or keep trans people out of women's bathrooms, which I've never seen a trans person go into a woman's bathroom. Even if I did, I wouldn't care really, but when I'm not in the US, I don't ever even really see trans people. I mean, in the Philippines, I do all the time, but it's widely accepted in the Philippines and nobody seems to care about it. It's not a big issue that separates the right from the left. And, you know, the Republicans have made it an issue to get people to vote for them. Like Trump, I don't know if you saw in the news, Trump lets, he has as a guest all the time at Mar-a-Lago is Kylie Jenner, who used to be, I can't remember his name before, but he was, you know, the decathlon winner in the 70s. I mean, he used to be a man, you know, he was in the Kardashian family, but he's always at Mar-a-Lago and he's allowed to use whatever, or she's allowed to use whatever bathroom she wants. So Trump doesn't really care about these issues. He just does it to separate Americans. You know, the Republicans are notorious for using social issues to separate Americans. That's the schadenfreude, the propaganda. That's how they fake you out. You know, the head fake. Oh, trans people. And then they cut Social Security. by the way, that is on the chopping block. Several Republicans in Congress have talked about cutting Social Security this cycle. And one of the ways they cut it is to raise the age of retirement. And they try and play it off like it's not a cut, but it's absolutely a cut if they raise the age of retirement. I know, I'm 10 years from retirement. I don't want the age raised. I would like to retire now. What about you? Comment below. Do you think raising the age of retirement and giving millionaires, billionaires, and corporations tax cuts is fair to everybody who voted for Donald Trump and everybody else who's in the middle class and poor and working poor? Go ahead and comment below about Social Security. And so these are just my thoughts this morning, reading the news. So it's morning in Malaysia, so it hasn't quite hit midnight in the States yet, and midnight is when the government will close down. I'm on furlough from my government job right now, so I'm not getting paid anyway. So to me, it doesn't affect, but it affects a lot of my friends in the government, and it affects a lot of people who get Social Security, and it's going to affect people who need services, like if you want to get a passport or anything like that. As long as the government's shut down, you can't do any of that stuff. But comment below. The Republicans, every time they get in office, it seems like they shut down the government, or they try and shut down the government, and the Democrats have to bail them out, and the Democrats are refusing to bail them out now. They're going to let the Republicans implode under their own weight, and we'll see what happens. Once again, guys, I know I have my best friend is MAGA. I know a lot of people who are MAGA. I don't hate MAGA people. I just trying to understand why MAGA doesn't see that Trump is the ultimate grifter. And now between him and Elon Musk and all the other billionaires he put in the cabinet, they're just going to loot the government of our tax money. Go ahead and comment on that. Why you think it's a good idea to have billionaires in the cabinet and have Elon Musk as the shadow president. I mean, he's basically calling the shots now. Trump is, 80 now. His brain is mush, basically. So, I don't know, comment below, like, subscribe, share my channel if you like it. If you hate it, share it as well. Okay, I'll see you next time.